Welcome to another crash course in WARFRAME. Today's feature will focus on the frame that's not only set the bar for future frames, but it's also brought about a stream of buffs and skill changes to currently existing frames. This guy is Vauban. As you probably already know, Vauban is the engineer slash MacGyver of the Tenno, and while his somewhat beefy appearance gives the impression that he's relatively durable, he's pretty much the opposite. But with his array of deployable offensive and defensive skills, you'll have practically zero problems finding a role for him to, well, I guess, supervise. Like I said, for a beefy guy, he's a little thin on stats. With a smidge less than average armor and shield max, coupled with being a little on the sluggish side, you're gonna have to stay alert until you can squeeze in a health or shield mod. But after a few levels, it won't even really matter, because you'll find that Vauban's utility counterbalances the shit out of his statistical shortcomings. Now, like all of his skills, Tesla is deployed by a thrown sticky grenade style device, and these things are amazing. It sticks on floors, walls, ceilings, doors, enemies, other players' sentinels, and even roller balls. Once deployed, a Tesla grenade will charge up and shock anything that comes into range, upgradable by mods of course, making them essentially a deployable turret. Alternatively, you can slap a few of them on a teammate and rake in the damage and kills done by all of your precious Tesla bots. Or if you have a choke point you don't feel like babysitting, feel free to throw a whole lineup right in front of the door just like this and just basically sit back and watch, or go do something else. Who knows? You have 45 seconds or so to go and do, again, whatever it is you want. You need to take a bio break? Guess what? Vauban can make that happen. Need a nuke leftover Hot Pockets? Don't worry, Vauban will keep an eye on things while you're gone. Is your girlfriend feeling a little frisky? Well, guess who's got your back? Vauban. Oh, you don't have a girlfriend but you still have needs? Don't worry, Vauban doesn't have to look. But he can, if you want. Next up, we have Bounce, which is a damn good competitor for #1 troll ability in WARFRAME. Simply throw it at the feet of oncoming players and launch them skyward. That's it. Feel free to place them on or before doors, or maybe, stack a couple so they're facing each other, put them on walls, basically wherever you want. And of course, it also happens to do a pretty good job of allowing Vauban to launch himself to platforms and ledges that would otherwise be unreachable, of course, sure. But, for example, a useful part of this ability is if you're in an infested defense mission, you have choke points. Throw them on the ground. It allows you to buy more time for your team. You can launch them off of ledges. You can even keep them there for a bit because you can trigger them more than one time, up to, I think, 4 times you can use these things. So you can do nice things with them, but that's no fun. Nobody cares about that crap. The other abilities will take care of all that. Just troll with this thing. Just do that. Otherwise, it's a waste of energy. Now, Vauban's third ability, but still, is basically it's just a stasis field. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, just a stasis field, but that's also 1-1-1. Yeah, you're right. It's probably the best non-ultimate defensive skill in the game, but it's just a stasis field. All it does is lifts every enemy that enters it while active off the ground and then holds them for a solid bunch of seconds, allowing you and your team to easily dispose of the entire group. I mean, it's also ridiculously useful when needing to res a teammate or keeping melee off a cryopod during defense missions, but that's it, right? Okay, yeah, of course. It's another example of Vauban's endless utility. And as if he needed more, Vortex is not only a viable form of crowd control, it also does a good amount of damage and will kill almost anything that isn't an ancient or boss. On top of that, it conveniently puts all of your loot in a nice little pile. Look at that. Its mechanics are simple. Toss a grenade, open a portal to Dimension X, and watch as enemies are slowly sucked in. And the pull on this is pretty good. It's even good enough to lift and hold players, which can be used for trolling, of course. Or, for the more creative, it can be used for other things. In closing, Vauban brings a unique and creative twist to mechanics that would otherwise seem too similar to other frames. I mean, just the simple fact that each skill can be thrown or stuck to enemies or whatever brings them to a whole nother level. And when compared to some of the older frames and, the older skill set that they have, well, it makes them feel plain and generic. And once you beef them up, the only downside is really just, travel time between executing the ability and when it actually attaches itself to something, forcing you to clench a bit longer than normal during an emergency oh snap moment. But a frame that can simultaneously guard a door with deployable turrets, lock up a group of infested 50 yards away, open a portal to another dimension for the sole purpose of piling up loot, and still have plenty of free time to troll a teammate is pretty hard to pass up. Now all that's left is to schedule all the Vauban blueprint alerts to happen while you're at school, work, or sleeping, because that's exactly what's gonna happen.